Come in here, Lauren, come in here. Hello, good morning, welcome to Bars and Bells. My name is Ian.
I'm Lauren.
And together we'll restore and recharge with our body weight exercises, always adding strength to the stretch and the robot to my right. We have our bench. Grab your chair, your ottoman, your low apparatus, and we'll work on some hips. But first, we'll start with that head neck. And then there's some time for some silly walks, so clear a little bit of space as well. At the head neck, start by tucking the chin in, pulling the crown tall, and breathing. From here, slight extension of the neck, look up, and then moderate flexion of the neck, looking down. Repeat. Look up, extension of the neck. Looking up in center, now I'll rotate towards my right side to look down the wall, touch my clavicle, roll to center, pull down, repeat, extension up, rotation away. Gentle chin nod down the wall, chin towards the clavicle, then to the center of the body, and return, looking straight ahead. Repeating, flexion first, or chin tuck. Chin tuck down, and then this figure eight shape as we go out to the side, up the wall, trace the eyes and head to center, and then chin tuck, looking down. Slowly from here, we'll rotate the other direction now, then look up the wall, head to center, finish, looking on the horizon with the crown tall and the chin in. I like to adjust my stance now, and let's repeat those same efforts through the rib cage. Shoulder blades, Lauren will get into those a little bit later, but retract together, and extension. Pull down on those abs as you try to lift up. And then from here, just a little light flexion forward, connecting the rib cage to those hips. Keep pulling down, but let yourself lift up or extend that T-spine. And from here, we'll rotate. Head can come with. From there, it's a gentle side bend and a rounding shape to the front. Pull down, assume tall and extension through the spine, and then head comes with, rotate. Gentle side bend. Small ranges are great here, and then we'll circle back around to the front, pull down, and get tall. Then returning one more time here to the flexion or the forward pattern. Then we'll rotate, dip to the side, lift up and over as we extend to the back now. And then through the middle, we'll pull down one last time, flexion through the rib cage spine, then rotate, side bend, up and over a hurdle, and return, looking on the horizon with the rib cage and abs tight. From here, tips to the tops to the tips.
Excellent.
Get it going with those feet.
We'll start with rolling over our feet a little bit, and then we'll get into something a little fancier next time. Heel, strike, roll through the foot, absorb using that arch, balls of foot, and then all 5 toes come down on that front side. Now let's gently bend those back toes to get to that demi point or the lunge foot. Push some weight straight down into that. Then use your toes to flick and bring that leg through. Heel. Roll through the arch of the foot, balls of foot down, toes. As we bend that back foot, we push some weight in, bending those toes, then flick. Come through. Do 2 more like so. Toes, flick, and last one, we're using that whole foot. We're absorbing through the arch, balls of foot, flick, leg comes underneath. We're gonna go backwards back. Keeping those quads parallel to initiate, bend a knee, toe, ball, heel. Take that front leg, keep it so straight as it passes underneath you, and then bend the knee, toe, ball, heel. Leg stays so straight as it passes underneath, bend the knee, toe, ball, heel, straight leg, and last one, end with both feet underneath. We'll do one more, this time allowing the toes to curl over. Heel strike, roll through the foot as we did in the first one, all 5 toes come down. Bend demi, then get to that pointed foot, allow the toes to flex around over, go back to that demi point and flick through. Same strike here as we roll through the foot, get to the demi point, roll over the toes, roll back over the toes, flick. 2 more strides here. They don't have to be big steps. Keep those legs underneath. Allow the knee and the ankle to stay in that straight line as you roll over. You roll back and you flick through. One last time here. Rolling over the demi, rolling back. And now let's bring those legs back underneath. Push down to go up, find a balance. And then from here, either forward if you think that's a wise choice first, I'm just gonna turn myself around, or backwards, walk yourself back to where you came from with straight knees, find a balance in one place, and then control down. Great, shake it out back to the heads and ribs.
Shake it out. Skip the head and neck. We'll come back to that in a second.
Ribs.
Let's get back to the apparatus out in front of us here, the Captain Morgan style.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you wanted one more silly walk?
Yeah. I can just do it right now.
Do the silly walk. Do that silly walk.
All right, so I wanted to walk like a duck. Let's start walking a little bit shrunken. So the ceiling comes down, we bend our knees, our head is stacked over top of our shoulders and our hips. As we walk here, let's try to stay the same height. So just as we did in those previous ones, we're peeling our foot up off the floor, bringing our leg through, flicking the floor away. Once you've run out of room, just do a little turnaround. And let's go back to where we came from. We're still going forwards. Maybe you could sink a little lower. And walk like a duck. Stay in the same height. Get to the edge of your room again. Turn around. And you have one more level of duck walk. As you come down here, it might burn the quads a little bit. Get those hips back. Good. Now to really spice it up, could you go backwards back? Again, ceiling's down on your head. You're staying that same height this whole time. Last 2 steps, and then press to tall. Ankles, toes, quads, you name it. Ducks.
Coming back to our apparatus now. Approach your block, your chair, your low apparatus straight on. From here, bring a knee forward, flexing on the hip. Either at the ankle or at the knee, hold this position for a second, and as the hip is flexed, continue to visualize compressing or pulling the femur in. Place that foot on the floor and switch to the other side. Pull up. As the leg climbs the standing leg, is that femur in fact compressed in the hip, tipping that tailbone back to the cow position. Slowly return that leg to the ground and switch. A little side turn there, Lauren. I'll face on. There we go. Sorry. Same idea in an opposite direction. Pull up the leg, but this time place the foot on top. Assembling yourself with a flat foot on your box. With the leg that's elevated on the box, compress in the hip, pulling in. The standing leg is tucked under, just like in those lunges. Press the top leg down, push into the ground through the elevated leg. For 10 seconds, can you continue to push down and visualize the pull up of your standing leg? Does that in fact turn on the core, feeling on those legs, easy on the off to relax and reset? One more time. First, let's tuck under the standing leg with a bum cheek squeeze. Then tip the tailbone back of the elevated leg, compress in the hip. Then press down on that elevated leg, pulling up the stiff leg. It's not entirely possible, at least not in my experience, but push down to pull up. Then relax with control, bend the knee, and then press down, growing tall on 2 feet. Repeat on the other side. Pull up. As soon as the hip flexes, meaning knee to chest, the tailbone tips back. Then press the foot onto your apparatus. The standing leg, which direction is that hip, Lauren? It's tucked under, she says, I think.
Didn't even need to answer.
And then pulling in the femur on the top. Slowly from there, press weight into the top leg, this right leg for me, as I pull the bottom leg off the floor, or at least try. For 3, 2, stay there, relax the effort, retuck that standing leg with a bum cheek squeeze, and tip the tailbone back of that elevated leg. One last time, we'll press down on the elevated leg with the intention to pull the straight leg up off the floor. For 3, 2, stay, but relax. Then casually bend the leg, press down to tall, squeeze your butt cheeks, and then a little shake.
From the hips to the shoulders, let's first start moving our blades and then we'll explore our T-wise eyes. With your arms at your side, I'd like you to have your hands dangling down and your palms face forward. With your palms facing forward, put your pinkies and attach them to where the outseam or the lateral seam of your pants is or would be if you don't have seams. Right now, let's keep those pinkies connected to the seams of the pants and lightly shrug up the shoulders, hiding your ears. I don't know. Then think about pulling those blades down along the cage and sliding them towards the floor. Repeat that again. Blades slide up to shrug. Blades slide down, pinkies are still connected to your pants. Now, find that place where you started, just in between the two. Again, with those pinkies connected to your inseam, outseam, press your blades forward, using the muscles of the blades to do this, not the arms. Now, pull those blades together, retracting or pinching a pencil in between them. Repeat that 2 more times. Did your fingertip move? No. Good. Blades slide forward around the cage, and then blades slide backwards, pulling those blades together. Let's keep those blades where they are, which means they're slightly retracted right now, and then we'll bend the elbows to create a W. From that retracted position, let's slide up into the ears blades, push the blades forward, trying not to move those elbows and hands too much, pull the blades down, and then retract them again. Now let's reverse the direction, pull down, blades forward, blades elevate, blades retract, slight depress of the blades. From here, extend towards your T if allowed. If not, stay in your W. With your T position, shrug, retract, pull down, press blades forward. Now, blades pull down, they retract, they elevate, and then we're just going to pull them down again into a nice set place. From our T, we're going to move towards our Y or stay in our T and do this one more time. Light shrug of the blades. Retract them this time together. Pull them down, press them forward. Now from forward, we'll go down, retract, elevate, and then from that elevated position, let's pull them down one last time. Keep those elbows nice and straight, but pull your shoulders down, and then pull those elbows all the way into the side of your body. From here, slightly retract your shoulder blades and slowly start straightening your elbows, but keep your blades in the same position. Straighten those arms back to that original side position, touching the inseam, outseam, and then gently relax. Inseam, outseam.
Hard to keep track sometimes, but thank you. Keeping the shoulder blades gliding on those ribs always feels good. Next, approach your apparatus off to the side. With this movement, we'll bring the knee up in front again. That hip flexion is your standing leg squeeze and the compressed femur of the elevated leg. Then, like our movement clock, we'll open the knee to the side and then place the leg down. Move a little bit, make it so that the vertical shin is on the leg of the elevated side here. What happens to that standing leg? It tucks under, squeezing the glute. Then from here, press down through the foot, which is actually the hip doing a ton of work here. Push down on the elevated leg with the intention to pull this straight leg up off the ground. Hold for a second and then relax that tension. 2 of everything here, so we'll do it one more time where we'll tuck under the standing leg, then press down on the lateral facing foot. The foot connects, the hips activate, press, press, press. Easy on the off. From here, there'll be a weight shift. So shift some weight to that standing leg and bend the leg on your block. Then pull the knee to the center, stand tall on 2 feet. And we'll repeat, same thing on the other side. With the apparatus to your side, it's that hip flex forward. Stand tall, pull the femur in. Then open to the side, extend on the knee, and make any accommodation you need. The standing leg is tucked under. Then gently at first press down, grip with the toes, push from the hips. 5 more seconds, pulling up the straight leg, pressing down on the bend. Easy on the off. Then again, the standing leg can scoop or tuck under, butt squeeze. Last time here, push down on that lateral leg. Breathe, push, push, push. Excite those hips. Then relax the effort. Transfer your weight, bend the knee, adductor, pull the knee to center, press to tall, and shake it out. I'll take this off to the side, and Lauren.
We're gonna go back to the shoulders one more time here. So with some space, let's stand up tall. We're gonna extend our arms first out in front of us actually. With our palms facing up, let's look down and try to make our blood donations or elbow pits face the same way as our palms. Now, keeping them both facing the same way, you can do one at a time or both at the same time. Could we internally rotate the humerus? What that means is our elbow pit and our palm pit at the same time are going to start to rotate in. This rotation is happening because this bone here, our humerus, is rotating. As you do that, check in on your shoulder blade. Did it round forward with you? Let's keep it where it is. Try it in the opposite direction. Elbow pit, palm pit, both rotate open at the same time. Let's try a couple more on our own here as we try to gently rotate in the elbow and the hand pit, and then rotate them open. Keep that in mind as we continue on here. We're going to extend our arms out into that T shape. From here, I want one arm to rotate in, so that palm and elbow pit are going to rotate down, and the other arm to rotate open. So we have our internal rotation, our external rotation. Now let's try to switch it. Internally rotate the one that's externally rotated and externally rotate the one that's internally rotated. Play with this for one more time as strict as possible as you do so. Think about where your blades are. Are you rotating through the upper body as you do this? Let's save that for a second. Now let's add on a little bit of fun. We could add that rotation. We could even add a little slide to one side. Rotating again, adding that slide to the other side. Reach and just get long and lengthen out each side here. Trying to keep the palm pit and elbow pit as best as you can, rotating in the same or in unison. And then once you're done about one more each way, come back to center, bring those arms in, and shake it out.
Shaking, shaking, shaking. Arms and shoulders, let's connect further onto those wrists. We'll take our time coming down and let's embrace that forward fold. Hands at your sides. I also like across the ribs here and the shoulder blades in that retracted position.
Sometimes I do T-Rex arms.
A moderate chin tuck first. Then that flexion through the upper back. The T-Rex shape helps us stay between those two panes of glass, or that alleyway, as Lauren likes to say lately.
Keep the blades
together. As we
together.
flex the upper back. Bend the knees as you need, and gently accept that floor. Fingertips, calluses, and then hands to the floor. Check in. How does wrist extension feel for you today? With wrist extension, we have fingertips gripping the floor, those blood donations facing forward, and those armpits down, nice and heavy to the hips. First knuckle push-ups from here. As we transfer the weight to that first knuckle, are those elbows straight, and slowly absorb that floor to land back with the full hands connected. Repeat. Press and accept that landing. Let's do that twice more here. Press, down, one more time completely, down, and one more time up, and push those hips all the way through. From here, Lauren, do one more kind of lunge movement here.
So from this position, we'll bring a leg up into the front, zip into our lunge-like position. Are you going to do more wrists after and then lateral? Okay, we'll stay in this front position for this exercise. So just like we did on our bench before, we're going to drive that front leg down and think about pulling it in. As that front leg pulls in, that back hip tucks under slightly, and you feel that connection or that scissor action. Now let's keep that scissor action in the hips for another 3, 2. Now let's continue to keep that tension, but now push into the floor to get to that demi point of your front foot. And then drive that heel down. Let's do that 2 more times. Push down, lifting the heel up, and then drive it down. That leg is sucking into the hip as you do this. Come to your demi point and stay. This time from that demi point for 3, could we get to the toe tips? So pointing to toe tip, back to demi point. Pointing to toe tip, back to the demi point. We're keeping that back hip extended one last time. And then demi point, heel comes down, back hip remains extended for 3, 2, and then lightly relax. We'll zip that leg back under where we got it, bring the other leg up, same thing on the other side. So as we're here, we either have that back toe tucked or pointed straight back behind us. Our back hip is slightly scooping under, tucking, squeezing the cheek, and pulling that front leg in. As you feel that scissor tension here, keep extending the back hip. For 3, 2, now keep that tension. Let's do our 3 demi points to the ball of the foot and the toes, and then heel down. Ball of foot and toes, heel down. Notice as we're doing this, our hips are not hiking. Then from that demi point, we go toe point and demi, and toe point and demi, and last one, toe point, whoops, bent my toes, demi, heel comes down, back hip stays pressing forward, and then lightly relax, bringing that leg back underneath.
One more time on those wrists in the gorilla fists, or peace signs connected to the floor. With fists, place most of your weight on the index and middle knuckle, and most of us will have those pinky and ring fingers off the ground. That's okay. Load up on your peace sign. From here, look between those hands and then open one hand at a time as you flex or bend over the wrist, turning the palm to the ceiling. From here, push down into the floor to return a wrist to a stacked position. Repeat on the other side. Gently flex over. Keep the armpit low, that blood donation forward, and push into the ground to return to stack. 1 or 2 more each side. Doesn't have to go far, but hopefully flexing the wrist this way will make the wrist extension more available the next time. Last time here, we'll flex over the wrist, elbow straight, push down, flexibility, and that mobility with strength. Push the floor away and those hips through. And one more time in the lunge, maybe even exploring that rotation, Lauren.
From our tall kneel position, we'll bring our leg up front, and then we'll heel toe it to the side. In this lateral position, our hips are still facing forward, and our leg is side, and only as side as you can get it to keep the knee and the foot in line. If your foot is cranked facing the other way, just bring your foot in a little bit more in your knee. No problem. From here, before we go anywhere, let's do 2 hula circles in each direction. I like my hands on my hips. I want you to think about this femur staying relatively stationary and this femur staying relatively stationary as you take your pelvis or your hip bones and try to do the hula. As you're doing this hula, we're going 2 in one direction here. Shoulders are staying fairly level. Femurs are not moving too much. And then switch direction for 2. We're really just trying to move around those bones and create room in those joints, coming all the way around back to center. Now, once we're at center, that back hip is tucked under, that front leg pulling in. Let's tap that side leg, tip tap, put that arm across your chest. Take your head, rotate it to the side of the leg that's beside you. Then take your upper body and follow it in that rotation. Head will rotate back to center position. Upper body rotates back to center. Repeat and add on. Head rotates. Shoulders rotate. Now we're going to hip hinge, pushing our hips back. Hand will find the floor, fingertips, callus line, palm. Stack those shoulders over top of your hand, and then head will look at hand on the floor, and upper body will rotate closed. Head will then look up at the ceiling, and that upper body shoulders will follow. Keep that bottom shoulder packed and the knee to the side as we do this one more time. Head looks down, shoulders square up. Head looks open, shoulders look open. This time pressing the floor away, extending the hips, head to center, shoulders to center, hair to the side. Front foot moves to the front, boom, or side leg moves to the front. Bring it under, same thing on the other side. First leg to the front, then heel toe it open, anywhere between 9 and 11 o'clock, or 1 and 3 o'clock is great. With the knee and the toes in line, the back hip extended, we're hula hooping 2 times in each direction. Again, the legs / femurs staying relatively stationary, 2 one way, and then 2 the other direction. Trying to move those hip bones around, or pelvis around. Once back to center, gently tuck under that back hip. Keep that knee to the side. Tap, cross. Head rotates to that side. Upper body rotates to that side. Head back to center. Shoulders back to center. Repeat again. Head goes first. As that upper body goes with you, check in with your shoulder blades. They should still be together and retracted. Now use your hip hinge. Your butt goes back. Your hand absorbs and finds the floor. Stack your shoulders over top. Then head will look at hand on the floor, and upper body will rotate closed. Head will rotate open. Upper body rotates open. Knee stays to the side. Shoulder stays packed one last time. Head look down. Shoulder look down. Head rotate open. Shoulders rotate open. Push the floor away, extending the hips. Head back to center. Shoulders back to center. Heel toe to center. Underneath.
Core from that floor, Lauren.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
You got it. Show them that bear hover.
Okay, we're going to work on our bear today, and in our first bear, we're just going to introduce it, and then later today, we're going to add on. Our bear position is our hands underneath our shoulders spread out wide, our knees underneath our hips and our toes tucked. With your knees down, or this is 6 points of contact right now, so keep 6 points of contact. Brace your core, keep breathing, and pull your right hand to your right hip without moving anything for 3. 2, now change it, pulling your left hand to your left hip without moving anything. Now pull both hands to both hips without moving anything for 3, 2, 1, and relax. I hope you quivered and worked as hard as I did.
I did.
Good. We're going to do the same routine, but with our knees slightly off the floor if you would like. So lift the knees, hovering them a couple centimeters, inches off the floor. Pack your shoulders, pull your right hand to your right hip. Then your left hand to your left hip. Then both hands to both hips for 4, 3, 2, and gently come down. Whew. Take a second off. We're making our way to standing to do a leg bar. So we'll keep our tailbone tilted towards the ceiling. Press the hands forward now into the floor, which should lift the hips and knees up. From this modified position here, we have our knees slightly bent and our tailbone tipped to the ceiling. Prioritize that nice long spine as you gently and slowly try to straighten your knees. Breathe. When you're ready and done in this A-frame shape, let's walk our hands to our feet or our feet to our hands. End up in that most fold-like position. And then slowly stack ourselves 1 vertebrae at a time all the way up to tall, like you're standing up in an alleyway.
There's that alleyway. And here we are, back up standing tall.
I'm the alley cat.
Alley cat. We've substituted the bench for our chair and balance aids, so grab yours and let's repeat, as Lauren said, those hip bars. Standing with your feet in your parallel position, feet facing forward, hips and shoulders too. Take a single leg and point it in that tendu fashion to the front. The pointed foot is great, the karate foot's appropriate too. Challenge yourself in that plantar or pointed foot. Open the hip inseam to ceiling, then turn that outseam of the pants in or the kneecap towards the middle. Then a turn out of the hip and open that leg towards the side. Repeat our rotations in the hip socket. Roll in, the kneecap and inseam goes forward. Rolling out or external rotation in the hip, the kneecap up and the inseam to forward facing. Turn in on the hip one more time, then round that circle shape around the back. Then flex over those toes, bring a straight leg all the way through to the front. Then a straight leg returns to the back this time. Stiffen the leg, never a knee bend. Point the toe. Then turn out of that hip, reach it to the side. From the side, continue to adduct or pull to that center position. And then extend the hip, push the hips forward to bring the leg back. Let's repeat that same thing on the other side. We'll switch, take a breath, add your shake, and let's go. It's that tendu or point to the front. Find center with a slight overcross. I'm turned out already. Turn out so that your inseam faces up. Then turn in so that inseam faces in or towards the ground. Then return one more inseam up. Then front leg towards the side. It's already externally rotated, inseam forward, so let's turn it in. Do your hips cramp? I hope so, in that polite, let's work together fashion. Now turn out again. Point, inseam forward, kneecap up, and then one last time with our turn in. Round that shape around the back, point the toe, flex over the foot, and bring a straight leg all the way through to the front. Straight legs return to the back. Point with those toes. Then it's the turn out in the hip, from the back to the side, side to the front, and a straight leg returns underneath. We'll repeat another variation of that in a moment, but first, more core with Lauren in the bear hover progression.
Excellent. We'll have to get to the floor to get to our bear, so we should use our hinge. With your feet slightly wider than your hips, chop those hips back. Our hinge, we have all 10 toes touching the floor and that feet grip. Vertical shins, hips loaded. Feel that core brace in the neutral spine and that load through your hamstrings and glutes. Then we'll tip forward, touching with our fingers, callus line, and hands, and bring our knees down. We are going to change our bear slightly, but keep the principle the same. Shoulders packed, hands gripping the floors. I want you now to keep that tension pulling towards your knees and slowly start taking a single leg and extending it out behind you. Your knee will be off the floor, but your toe will be touching. I say singular toe because my big toe's long. With that toe connected to the floor, or toes plural, keep your shoulders square to the floor. Feel that tension as you pull in. Now imagine in this position hovering that other knee up off the floor. Keep holding, keep imagining. If that imagination could become real, could you hover that knee off the floor? For 4, 3, 2, that knee will come down. Keeping the tailbone long, we'll bring the other leg in underneath. And we'll repeat on the other side. Gather up your tension, pulling towards center. Slowly extend the other leg, reaching it back behind you. Hips stay square to the floor here. Those toes are connected, hips are square. Pull that tension into center. Feel that core brace. Imagine lifting the knee off the floor, and then maybe actually lift. Stay square to the floor for 4, 3, 2, knee will tap down. Keep the tailbone long as you bring that knee back underneath. Let's press the floor away, shake out our wrists, but not go too far because I think we should do that one more time. Great idea. Thank you. Hands find the floor. We're in that bear hover position. Let's play with that X pattern tension. So before we go anywhere, start pulling your right hand to your left hip and your left hand to your right hip. And do both at the same time to feel that X tension. Now, can you maintain that tension as you straighten out one of those legs towards behind you, keeping the hips square? If you can and you want more, can you keep that tension and hover the knee off the floor? We're now in that 4 points of contact for 4, 3, 2, keep it challenging. Try to keep that tension as you drag the knee back underneath. Take a second off here. Regather your X pattern tension by pulling across and across. Keep it. Extend the other leg out. Hold. Maybe hover the knee. Hold your X pulls for 4, 3, 2. Knee comes down. Keep the tension as you pull that leg back into center. And then, my abs are burning. Take a second. Maybe shake your wrists out if you need. And then we'll come up back via that down dog. So with the hands down, the tailbone tilted long, the hips will lift up towards the ceiling. Prioritize that long spine as you walk your hands back to your feet. And slowly, I should have hinged. I'm hinging and up to tall.
One more time with that balance aid for that hip bar, this time with the bent knee. With the feet in parallel, pull a single leg up, foot stays underneath and connected to your standing leg. Like the Captain Morgan in the warm-up, is your standing leg tucked under with that elevated leg compressed or tipped back. From here, open the knee to the side, also like that Captain Morgan. Then the knee stays fixed in place, open up so that inseam goes up, the foot goes out, turning like that hydrant move. Then pull the knees together underneath the hips. Return to the back this time, extend the hip to the back, tucking under, then reach the knee wide and the foot under the hips. Then pull that knee back to center, press down, finish tall. Repeat one more time. Pull up in the front, cramp your standing leg, open to the side, the knee stays fixed, the inseam turns down, the foot goes out, the hips go hi-ya. Then pull the knees together. Repeat in the reverse direction, so this time it's a hip extension. The hip is pushing back. Then reach out the back, connect the standing leg, elevated foot to the standing leg. Then pull the knee from the side to the front and finish tall. Add your shake. Repeat on the other side. Practice stability, practice mobility, and light stuff like Lauren in between. Pull a single leg to the front. That hip flexion means the femur is compressed in, your standing leg engaged. Then open the knee to the side. The knee stays fixed. We turn in on the hip to say hello to those sideline butt cheek muscles. Then pull the knees back together underneath. Extend the hip to the back. Little bits go a long way here. Then reach the foot underneath by bringing the knee to the side. Pull the knee to center, press down, finishing tall on 2 feet. One last time here, we'll pull up, hip flexion in the front. Then open to the side. Turn in on the hip, gently cramp or bend that knee, and pull, adducting into center. Lastly, we'll extend out the back. Then open in that external rotation, knee wide, foot underneath the hip. Pull to center and finish tall. Through to center is what that was about to say there. There we go. Let's take this out of the way. We'll finish today's practice with a few of our favorite movement transfers and a plank or two to finish.
Movement transfers is what I heard. Let's start in our first position, which means we've just squeezed our cheeks and our feet are in that V-like stance. From here, I want you to point a single leg out to the side. Keep it within your cylinder, so you could just tap the floor there. Now, once you've tapped the floor, toes go down, ball of foot, heel. Right now, we're in between 2 feet. We could go either way. Let's press off our original foot or our center foot and find a balance stacked over top of the other side. As I'm here, my hips are still trying to push forward, shoulders, and I am trying to do my external rotation or my inseam facing forward. Toes, ball, heel. Feel that pull on the floor as you press yourself across, and think about getting stacked on top of your hip versus letting this hip sink out to the side. Once stacked, find that balance. Inseam forward for 3, 2, 1. Let's come to center. In this center place, push down to grow up, finding a balance on your demi points. Again, hips are forward, kneecaps are pulled up, cheeks are squeezed for 3, 2, heels come down. Press off one leg to find a balance on your single leg and hold again. This time, maybe even trying to find that single leg balance. So push into the floor, trying to grow up and find that single leg, straight leg balance for 3, 2, back down. Toe, ball, heel. We have straight legs right now. There's no knee bending. As we push over, get stacked. And then again, try to find that balance. Grow up and hold for 3, 2, control the down. Toe, ball, heel. We have 1 or 2 more rounds, depends on how it goes. This time on bent knees, so pull yourself down. Try to keep those hips slightly tucked under. This time we're going to press one leg straight and we'll find a bent knee balance and hold. Our knee is towards over our toes, our inseam still forward. 3, 2, toes, ball, heel. Pull on the straight leg, then start bending the knee. Press over, hips forward, point, hold. 3, 2, come back to center, keep your knees bent in center. Once in center, find a balance on those demi points with bent knees. Try to push the inside of your heels forward. 3, 2, heels come down, press to tall, push off your outside leg or your original leg you pointed out with. On a straight leg, pull it underneath to close.
One last time in that high plank, Lauren, fold or hinge to the floor. Here, I am showing the hinge.
I will fold.
Hinges, vertical shins, but it's the same thing in that forward fold if you can. In the hinge, my spine is super long and extended, and in the fold, it's flexed and supple. Connect the hands to the floor next. Let's get back to that all fours position. And for one more time, Lauren, tell us what to do in that 3-pointer. 6-point to 3-point plank.
Excellent. So hands are under shoulders, knees are under hips, toes are tucked. Let's create that parallel tension right now. Pull your right hand to your right hip, your left hand to your left hip, and maybe this is where you stay. If you'd like to add more, keep that tension, but try to extend a single leg out behind you. As it's out behind you, your hips are still square to the floor, and you're still pulling in those parallel railroad tracks. If you want more, that knee hovers up off the floor. Make sure those hips stay square for 4, 3, 2, leave that knee hovered as an optional difficulty or place it down as you bring that other leg back underneath. If you kept them up, both knees are hovered off the floor. Now you're going to extend the other leg out. If you brought your knee down, stay there or hover up and hold. That parallel tension hasn't stopped, or breath hasn't stopped. We'll bring that leg back underneath and end up in a 4-point or a hover position for 4, 3, 2, knees down. Was that good, Ian? All right.
Oh, yeah.
We'll stand back up and via that hinge or the fold. Choose one. Try not to do a hybrid of both. They're distinct moves that should be kept distinct.
You got it. We had weight transfers, we had core strength, we stretched, and hopefully you feel strong and ready to take over whatever you have planned for the rest of the day.
One more set of transfers.
One more set of transfers. I'll come back to that in a second.
Stay tuned. We did our side to side, but we must do our forward back transfers. It's essential to our life. With our feet underneath us in that first position, we're going to point to that single leg. Sorry, let's do that again. Let's point it to the side, and then let's draw that quarter of a circle to the front.
Get your fractions
and
right,
land
Lauren.
toe ball heel. From here, feel that forward back. I could go forward. I could go backwards. I'm going to go forward. So I'm going to push off my back leg and find a straight leg balance on my front leg for 3, 2, then toe ball heel, push off of your front leg and find that back leg balance. Again, feel those hips. You could be lazy and be jutting your hip, or you're pulling that front leg in and stacking. Toe ball heel. In between 2 feet now, push down and find a balance for 3, 2, stay up here, or go back to that flat feet and perform the same activity. Push off your back leg. Try to find that front foot balance. Feel free to have that balance aid at your side for 3, 2, then toe ball the back foot, push off of your front foot, and try to find that back leg balance. Again, stacked, lifting up and out of this for 3, 2, then toe ball that front foot, come between 2 feet, and slowly descend. We'll push off the front foot to find a back leg and straight leg underneath. We have to do the other side. Point leg to the side, quarter circle friend, toe ball heel. Right away, push off your back foot and find a flat front leg balance, holding, square, square, 3, 2, toe, ball, heel, push off your front foot, find that back leg balance, squared up, leg in the socket. Toe ball heel, 2 feet, push down to go up. Try to keep those feet pretty tight together. If they get too far apart, that's really hard to transfer your weight. You're going to push off that back foot and find that front leg balance and hold. Growing down, pushing down to grow up for 3, 2, and then toe ball that back foot, pushing off your front foot to find that back leg balance and holding for 4, 3, 2, front foot comes down, both heels come down with straight legs. Push off your front foot, pull the leg straight, underneath. Okay, now Ian, you can talk.
Now we can finish up. I feel strong, I feel stretched, and we hope that you feel the same. So to our YouTubers at large, subscribe, like, and share, and come back. To our patrons and members online, thank you for your patronage, and we look forward to staying in touch with you through our link letter and your private membership at various levels. Check it out if you're not a member at barsandbells.com/membership. I'm Ian.
I'm Lauren.
Together, we stay strong with our bars and bells and body weight basics. Thank you for being here today. We'll do it again, maybe even as soon as tomorrow at 8 a.m. live on Saturday mornings, Eastern time that is, and we'll play with our strength some more. Thank you again. As always, take care. Stay strong, and let's train soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.